Argonauts lost Gil Finnerty to injury last night in Calgary, but Gil Renfro's passing led them to a win over the Stampeders. One of Renfro's favorite targets, wide receiver Pernell Moore, who gathered in this long touchdown score as the Argos beat the Stampeders 42-25 to move 4 points ahead of Hamilton in the race for first place in the Eastern Division. Winnipeg 6 behind Toronto. In the West, Edmonton and Saskatchewan tied for first. The BC Lions could move 2 points ahead of Calgary in the race for third if they win tonight. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our CFN telecast from Hamilton. We've documented the BC Lions' problems, and not only are they struggling on the field, they have to worry about things that are going on off the field, such as a possible move to private ownership. No such worries here in Hamilton. As a matter of fact, Ticats owner Harold Ballard is here at the game tonight. The Ticats' primary concern is running down the Toronto Argonauts and finishing first in the East. And one of the keys to Hamilton's success this season, they are 7-5, has been the play of their offensive line, a big offensive line. With more on that, here is our Neil Lumsden with Miles Gorell.
Bob, they talk about size being a big factor along the offensive line for the Hamilton Ticats. I don't know what the big deal is here. Miles, is it a big deal in the success of the Ticats?
I think it is. Our offensive line is big, but I've always looked up to Neil ever since I played with you at Ottawa Youth, so you've always been on a pedestal to me.
Well, I'll make it even out. Now I'll get down the way it used to be. Miles, the success of the offensive line, not many sacks. A lot of it has to do with Mike Kerrigan and his quick release.
He's got a very quick release. He's reading the receivers very well. We've got some great receivers, Steve Stapler, Rocky DiPietro. They're incredible, and it's making our job a lot easier. Our running back's been playing well. A big part of our success has to do with our littlest guy, Jed Tommy. He's been blocking very well, and when you have a fullback that can block a guy one-on-one, it makes the offensive line job real easy, and we don't have to worry about the loose guy.
Zachary's back in the lineup as a running back for you. I think everyone is smiling about that. He's a pretty good runner, a very powerful runner. Do you expect to be teeing off a little bit more in the running game?
I hope so. I think Ken Zachary is just one hell of a back. He's got such explosive power, and he complements our offensive line so well. He's big and he's fast.
Thank you, Miles. Good luck.
Thanks, Neil.
The first season between Hamilton and BC is next on the Canadian Football Network. Just a few minutes ago, the weather was near perfect here at Ivor Wynne Stadium, but it started raining about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Very warm evening. And the wind has picked up southwest at 15 a couple of minutes ago, but gusting now as the rain has arrived. The BC Lions, accustomed to this. They played in Calgary last Friday in a pretty well consistent downpour from beginning to end. As Baldiston hits the football, and we're underway. Anthony Drawhorn at the BC 5. Donahue Grant, number 7 for the Ticats, flying through the air to make the first contact as Drawhorn is stopped at the Lion 27-yard line.
Matt Dunnigan hoping to take advantage of the dry ball early, as Rick Warman did against the Lions a week ago. As you said, Bob, the Stampeders and the Lions were hit with a heavy rainfall. Rick Warman took advantage of that hit very quickly. I think Matt Dunnigan would like to do the same tonight.
Larry Donovan said, we have to get Donovan comfortable so he can flow. Those were Donovan's words. What exactly does he mean, Neil? As a Lion player, Wes Cooper was injured on that return.
Well, you hear many times a guy wants to get in a football game, and there's a fellow that got into this football game, the owner of the Ticats, Harold Ballard. Joe Zuger, general manager of the Ticats, on his left. They'll be nice and dry. But as I was saying, Bob, that a player likes to get into the game with contact. You know, get the shoulder pads settled down on the shoulders, the helmet good and tight. Same thing applies for a quarterback, but it doesn't come from contact. It comes from making that first pass crisp, sharp, having a completion, and then feeling good behind the center.
One of the things they've worked on with Dunnigan this week is to convince him that he doesn't have to do it all by himself. He puts so much pressure on himself, and sometimes it adversely affects him. First and 10 Lions from their 27. And the handoff is to Reggie Taylor. He'll get to the 29 for a gain of a couple. Taylor coming off a big game in Calgary. Ran for 148 yards against the Stampeders 8 days ago.
Patrick Swoops, the new man on the inside of that Tiger Cat defensive line, a little extra size, 6'3", 275 from Mississippi State. He's in there so the Ticats can get a look at him, and also to help shut down that very potent running attack of the BC Lions.
They move Skillman to end, and Lorenz becomes a non-starter tonight. That's how they get Swoops in. Second down, running play again for the Lions to the 35, and fighting for more is Reggie Taylor. But he'll be a couple of yards short of a first down.
I'm impressed by what Reggie Taylor shows us, not only the obvious things, his quickness, speed, getting to the outside, his ability to get through to the secondary very quickly, but in a power situation, he's not very big, but he can certainly grind out the last few yards, as we saw him right there.
And that is Patrick Swoops playing his first game in the CFL, who was injured. Actually, to get Swoops on the roster, opening up an import spot, the Ticats took Arnold Grievous out of the defensive secondary. Jim Rockford, who had been their designated import, will start at defensive halfback, as big Patrick Swoops needs some attention very early.
Swoops comes to the Ticats by way of the New Orleans Saints. 1987, he played a few games down there. Paul Boudreau, very familiar to some CFL people. He used to coach the offensive line in Edmonton. That's who Al Bruno called. He talked a bit and felt that Swoops could make a difference up here, and not exactly the way he wants to start his CFL career on his back.
Al Bruno turns to the rain gear as the rain continues to pelt Ivor Wynne Stadium. Well, the BC Lions have struggled of late, but they have won 8 of their last 10 games from the Hamilton Ticats. Matt Dunnigan will head to the sidelines to talk with Larry Donovan, while Patrick Swoops receives further examination on the field. Hamilton 7-5, and they're 5-1 here at Ivor Wynne Stadium, and the BC Lions at 5-7 are 1-5 on the road.
Well, not only do they have their rain gear on, they may have to tie the young fella down when it gets a little windier.
And they're having fun. They got big smiles on their faces. Well, maybe it has something to do with the fact they're on television.
That's a Crest commercial right there.
Louis Pasaglia playing his 200th CFL game tonight. He is into punt on third down and a couple. I said Dunnigan went over to confer with Larry Donovan. He went over because they opted to punt on third down and about 1.5 yards. The ball at the 35 of BC, and Pasaglia is kicking into the wind. And he hits a low boot. Barely got over the line of scrimmage. Now goes back the other way. The Ticats fall on it. Scott Flagel at the BC 51-yard line, and a penalty flag comes down, but vivid idea of how strong the wind is on that kick by Pasaglia.
No yards. BC number 23. First down, Hamilton.
Well, Bob, not only is it tough to kick into a strong wind, and that's something the punter has to think about, there are some other things that the wind can affect the ball, how it can affect the ball.
So the penalty moves the football to the 36 of BC as we get an indication of just how strong the wind has become. And all that in the last few minutes, the last half hour maybe. Kerrigan on first down throws to Richard Estelle. And he has a catch at the 26-yard line. Estelle starting at wide receiver. Earl Winfield is the designated import tonight.
Well, Mike Kerrigan wastes no time to get the ball downfield and doing exactly what he does so well, is get into the sync of dropping back into what is known as a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop. And Larry Donovan knowing very well that's exactly what he has to get Kerrigan out of, that rhythm that he can be so successful in when he gets rolling.
And Kerrigan is the #1 rated passer in the CFL in the league's efficiency rating. That punt by Pasaglia, by the way, 2 plays ago, traveled 17 yards after the wind got a hold of it. Well, the BC Lions have not started well in many games this season, Neil. That's another one of Larry Donovan's priorities tonight, was not to get behind early. And they're in danger of doing that. Ticats second and inches at the BC 26. Kerrigan, nothing fancy there, has the first down. Greg Stuman moved up to make the stop.
As you said, Bob, Donovan realizing how important it is, especially for the offense, to get rolling, connect on the plays. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go for that 3rd and short, because they'd run the ball successfully in 2 plays with Reggie Taylor. Want to take a crack at it.
That rain gear of the Lions has had a workout last week in Calgary and now again tonight. First and 10, Ticats, BC 25. Kerrigan throws. It's no good. Intended for Stapler, the defensive back. Larry Crawford had slipped on the play, but Kerrigan overthrew Steve Stapler.
Well, when the turf gets wet like this, the advantage obviously goes to the receiver. He knows where he's going. He can put just the slightest move on a defender, and the defender, really used to having that firm traction, tries to jump and run with him. He could slip. Is that exactly what happened the last time?
Second and 10, Stapler left, Richard Estelle wide right. And Mike Kerrigan has pressure, steps away nicely, throws into the end zone, but Stapler unable to get near the ball as he was very well covered.
Well, he couldn't get to the ball because Keith Gooch had great position on Stapler, really squeezing him towards the sidelines, coming off the ball. You see, they're on the numbers right now. As Stapler tries to fade the pattern, Guth keeps moving with him, so they're side by side. Stapler can't adjust and come into the football where it was thrown to.
Hollis Baldiston is on. Well, he's had a pretty good year. He's made 15 out of 19 inside the 40. This is a 32-yard attempt. Horace holding. Big win with us, Baldiston. Distance, no problem, and the accuracy was there as well. We are 3:36 into the game, and the Ticats have scored first. Hollis Baldiston has just kicked a 32-yard field goal, and the BC Lions have asked him to kick off with the wind. And as Baldiston drives it down to the BC 4-yard line. This is Drawhorn, and he finds an opening and gets outside. And knocked out of bounds at the Hamilton 48-yard line. We were surprised that Donovan would ask Hamilton to kick off with the wind at their backs. I guess he knew, Neil, that Drawhorn was going to break one.
Well, he knew possibly that there was a good return that they could set up against the Hamilton kickoff cover team. Drawhorn simply gets up. He makes an awful lot of his yards on his own, picking his way through. Nice block right there to give him a chance to get to the outside.
55-yard return by Anthony Drawhorn. And the Lions are at the Hamilton 48. And the right tackle of the BC Lions, Larry Clarkson, was just a little bit offside that time.
First down repeated.
Ken Lazaruk is the head referee, and the BC Lion offensive team. Dunnigan at quarterback. The imports both starting, Parker and Taylor. Streeter back at wide receiver. Donovan very happy about that. And a makeshift offensive line with Roper moved to tackle and Coughlin starting at guard. Anthony Parker carrying on first and 15 down to the Hamilton 42 for a good gain of well, close to 10 yards.
One of Al Bruno's concerns coming into this game was the rushing ability of the BC Lions. They average 160 yards a game, and that's unbelievable. When you can put Matt Dunnigan together with Parker and Taylor, you've got quite a threat.
9-yard run, second and 4. And Parker carrying again, was grabbed in the backfield. Mike Walker got through. Parker had to get to the Hamilton 38 for a first down. He's at the 39.5.
Well, not quite as much room this time. Just a quick handoff to Parker. You see the center, Ian Sinclair, get through, get on Corbin. The left side of that defense closed down quickly because of Mike Walker.
Walker getting through to make the first contact, and the Lions on 3rd and a yard and a half. At the Hamilton 39.5, very close to 2. They're going to go for it. And the ball is fumbled. And Hamilton has it at the Ticat 34.
Well, the rain has stopped, but that doesn't mean the ball won't be a little bit slippery. Parker's going to lead. Taylor's going to hit in there. He gets good contact right there, and the ball pops out. And now it's just a scramble for it. Les Brown comes up with it.
Got it on?
First contact, get that ball tucked away nicely. 77, I think Grover Covington came in.
Covington knocked the ball loose, and the Ticats take over. And Ken Zachary, back in a Hamilton uniform, carries for the first time and gets a yard, maybe 2, out across the 35 of the Ticats. Zachary, a very interesting story, Neil.
Well, Al Bruno's glad to have him back. It seemed like when Zachary's been with the Tiger Cats before, he hasn't been content. Al Bruno believes he's content to be back now.
Zachary back from the NFL with Tommy in the backfield behind Mike Kerrigan. The receivers with Estelle starting ahead of Winfield. And that big offensive line that we talked about in the opening that leads the CFL in fewest sacks allowed. Kerrigan has a completion on second down, and Jacques Chapdelaine has an excellent effort after the catch into BC territory.
Well, we seem to see Chapdelaine get better every game he plays. Here you see it, 1, 2, 3, set up and throw that ball right to Chapdelaine in that seam. He's going to break a tackle going between Gooch and Drawhorn. Now he's just going to drag Drawhorn another 5 yards.
Chapdelaine not known for his power, but he showed some there. The Ticats are first and 10 at the BC 53. And Zachary has the ball, and was he ever unloaded on? As soon as he got it, Walter Ballard slid across to make the contact.
Ballard coming down hard from that defensive end spot. Reads his key, gets into a gap, and as Zachary wants to make the cut right there, he meets up with Walter Ballard. Braswell right behind him.
And they lost half a yard. We'll call it 2nd and 11. The football at the BC 52.5. Kerrigan, lots of time. Dumps it off. No good. Intended it for Tommy. At the 50, Quick Parker was with Jed Tommy.
Interesting to see that Parker can come down hard as a rush end and react to that ball that's flipped over the middle to Jed Tommy. Backpedal and get into the play. I guess you can still call Quick Parker, Quick Parker.
30 years of age in his 9th CFL season. James Quick Parker. Paul Baldiston will punt for the first time in the game. Has the win with him. 3rd down and 11 for the Ticats. And as Baldiston gets it high, but didn't hit it real well. Crawford at the BC 12. Larry Crawford trying to get outside. There's a penalty flag as Crawford is forced out at the BC 26. 3-0 Hamilton. Foster's Lager and the Canadian Football Network bringing you the best of the CFL. We had a mini monsoon sweep through here at the start of the game, but the rain has lessened. It is still raining, but very lightly. Wind is still blowing fairly hard, and it's blowing in the faces of the BC Lions as they start this offensive series from their 6-yard line. They're trailing 3-0. 7 minutes left in the opening quarter. Matt Dunnigan hands off to Anthony Parker, and he's out across the 10 up near the 13-yard line.
Have to watch very carefully when Matt Dunnigan puts the ball into either the waist of Parker or Taylor. He's so good in that bootleg and has had so much success this year with it. They carry their fakes out as well or better than anybody in the CFL.
Larry Donovan thought how Matt Dunnigan handled second down situations, Neil, in the early going with maybe tip-off, what kind of a night he was going to have. Let's see what happens here. They hand off on 2nd and 3, and I don't really know how you can critique Dunnigan on a play like that, but it looks like they're a yard short of the first down.
I think he was referring more to a 2nd and long situation, 2nd and 6, 7 yards. How he treats it, the type of play he's going to call, and how he will read the defense that the Tiger Cats give him.
And that play appeared to be sent in by Larry Donovan as a BC player came in. They'll measure. The Lions and Ticats go back to Vancouver for another meeting next Friday night.
Short of a first down.
We'll have it on CFN. It is short of a first down by less than a foot, I would say, from the looks of that measurement. And the BC Lions will gamble. Surprised?
Not really. Bring in the heavier artillery, the tight end position. Matt Dunnigan has been very successful and quarterback sneaks very well, so I think that's the play they go with.
And Dunnigan gets plenty for the first down against that very good Hamilton Tiger Cat defense. Anchored by the front four with Swoops, the newcomer, Walker, Covington, and Skillman all having outstanding years. Corbin, the rookie middle linebacker, Frank Robinson, the leading tackler, and Mike Robinson, the linebackers, and the secondary. That has a nose for the football. They have intercepted a lot of passes this year. Lance Shields leads them in that department with 8. Lions have a little breathing room now at their 19.5 as Anthony Parker carries on first down and gets maybe 4 out to the 24. Parker with 585 rushing yards, and Reggie Taylor with 371 starting tonight's game. And Taylor has not played all 12 BC games.
He's a real asset, not only as a running back, but they like to get him out into the patterns, ideally one-on-one with a linebacker and get him deep.
2nd and 6. Lions at their 24. Dunnigan to Reggie Taylor, and he'll lose a yard.
Al Bruno mentioned to us when we talked to him today, Bob, that he doesn't see the BC Lion defense being as the swarming type of defense that they have been in the past. Not quite as aggressive. Well, I think Al Bruno saw that type of defensive style right there from his 12 guys on the defensive side of the football, led by the veteran Frank Robinson.
Louis Pasaglia, playing in his 200th CFL game, will punt for the second time in the game and for the second time into the win. On 3rd down and 7, the ball at the BC 23. Better kick, but the wind still holds it up. Winfield at the 54 of the Lions, and he is grabbed and down back at the Ticat 53-yard line. Earl Winfield suffered a hip pointer in Regina last Sunday, and I don't know, hard to tell on that run, Neil, but he didn't look like he had the usual mobility that Earl Winfield has.
I think it's a little bit restricted on that play because the ball bounced around and he didn't field it very cleanly, and when you do that, you're not totally confident where the wall or the return is set up. So I think the lack of confidence just showed right there.
31-yard punt, much better by Pasaglia. But the Ticats still with good field position. 1st and 10 at their 54 and leading 3-0 with 4 minutes left in the opening quarter. Zachary carrying, and he has 3 or 4 off the right side. Al Bruno said a very difficult decision to take Martin Sarton out and put Ken Zachary in the lineup tonight, but they want to get a good look at Zachary and see what he can do for them in the playoffs. Not that far off.
6'2", 225 pounds, the size of a fullback, but the speed of a halfback. He shows you right there, though he doesn't make a lot of yards. Met head on by Kevin Konar. He runs with the style that he'll run over you or he'll go around you with his speed.
And they know to a large extent what Zachary can do. He played 6 games last year and 4 in '86 for them. Chapdelaine with a 2nd down pass, and he has just enough for the 1st down. To the BC 45.
Mike Kerrigan again in that patent style, back very quickly, and he had to. Jeff Braswell was in very quickly on him, made the hit just as the ball was thrown to Chapdelaine. And I think they're going to have to take a look at Mike Kerrigan.
Disrupt the rhythm. That was the byword for Larry Donovan when he talked about handling Mike Kerrigan, who likes to throw all of his passes with precise timing.
Well, with the veteran offensive line and the good running backs that Hamilton have, it's very difficult to get someone in quickly because they can pick up the stunts. Now you see Braswell come around the center and just put a shot on Kerrigan as he releases the football. Tom Porras, the number 2 quarterback, loosening up.
3:20 to go, 1st quarter. We're at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton.
Ticat training staff and doctors taking a close look at Mike Kerrigan's right shoulder.
Kerrigan in considerable pain as he left the field. Tom Porras will replace him. Kerrigan was hit on a pass completion to Jacques Chapdelaine that got Hamilton a 1st down at the BC 45-yard line. Porras has not played much in the last 5 or 6 weeks. It's been mainly Kerrigan. This is Ken Zachary. Looked outside for a minute, turned it back inside. It was a wise decision. He gets down to the 35 of the Lions.
A very wise decision, allowing things to form in front of him, to really take a good look at what's happening. You'll see he wants to go outside. The play's designed, but watch him almost come to a stop and get up that lane that's just been created, that offensive line of the left side. Floyd Fairbanks, Jason Riley pushing the defense away, and then you got a good example right there of Zachary's acceleration.
And they'll measure. Zachary was just cut by San Diego. He joined the Chargers in September of last year from the Hamilton practice roster as a replacement player. Originally joined the Ticats in July of '86. He was cut, went to Green Bay, came back to Hamilton the next month, August of '86, as we look at Mike Kerrigan heading for the Ticat dressing room. And now Zachary is back again. with the Ticats. Kerrigan was off to a reasonable start. Whether we'll see him again this evening would be doubtful looking at that. Morris keeping on second down and has the first down.
Earl Winfield with the shoulder pads off. As you can see, they'll make some adjustments to his equipment. I think if you're comparing styles, Kerrigan and Porras, they both have the strong arms. But Porras is a little bit more mobile, and I think an extra little bit of pressure on the offensive line now. They're going to have to work that much harder for Tom Porras.
Porras and the Ticats 1st and 10 at the BC 34. And this is Zachary with the ball. And he might have a yard. Greg Stuman with the tackle on Zachary.
We saw Mike Kerrigan go to the dressing room. The word is a right shoulder separation, which is bad news for Al Bruno.
Well, the Ticats have been very fortunate injury-wise this season, but this will be a very costly one if Kerrigan is out for any length of time. Of course, Toronto losing Gil Finnerty last evening in Calgary, and I don't know if they come any more costly than that. Porras going long for Stapler, but Stapler had broken it off, and that pass wasn't within 20 yards of anybody.
Ticats have made some adjustments coming into this game. Mike Dirks usually is the left tackle. Now it's number 62, Lloyd Fairbanks. Dirks out with a leg injury, and you see Ballard coming in there trying to get the leverage on Fairbanks. Great job of getting the hands out in front of him and keeping Ballard in front of him and away from him.
Paulus Baldiston on to try another field goal. He kicked one earlier. This one will come from the 40-yard line with the wind. And he pulled it to the left. And it'll go for a single point with 1:13 left in the opening quarter. The Ticats now lead by 4-0. As Baldiston did not hit that football well at all, as his reaction would confirm. Again, Earl Winfield having some equipment repairs done at the Ticat bench. Ticats leading 4-0. 1:13 to go in the first quarter at Ivor Stadium in Hamilton. At halftime tonight, a look at a BC Lions institution who came back.
As far as my friends in football go, they're happy that I'm back, and I'm happy to be in a BC Lions uniform. I wouldn't have it any other way.
David Williams comes up with a spectacular catch against Les Brown of a long throw from Matt Dunning.
Well, the number one threat to go deep for the Lions has been this year David Williams, a 44-yard reception. The ball thrown to the outside, and David Williams really is being covered awfully well by Les Brown, but it's going to turn into a wrestling match. Watch Williams get off the ground a little bit higher here. Comes inside and then pulls it away on that twist right there. Comes up with the football.
8 more yards, and Williams goes over 1,000 for the season. Matt Dunnigan sprinting right, throwing to Scott Leckie, complete. And he's down to the Ticats' 16-yard line. So very quickly, Dunnigan strikes through the air after sticking with the running game for most of this first quarter.
Well, Larry Donovan said he wanted to be able to get Matt Dunnigan away from that pressure of the front four of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And you have to do it in different ways. You can't always just drop back and roll or sprint. You have to give the different looks. And I think being able to set the run up early allows them to do the sprint, the play action, gives them more variety right now.
Barring a penalty, this will be the final play of the opening quarter. 1st and 10 BC, Hamilton 16. Draw play, Anthony Parker. And the Ticats had that one read and stopped it for no gain, maybe a loss of a yard. 15 minutes to Skillman made the play. The Ticats lead the BC Lions 4-0. It is 4-0 Hamilton, but the second quarter will open with the BC Lions at the Tiger Cats' 17-yard line with a second down and 11. Matt Dunnigan sends David Williams wide left, Eric Streeter wide right. Parker and Taylor in the I formation. And Dunnigan in the arms of Grover Covington.
Once again, big number 77, Covington. See the action, backs are going to the left. Little bit of a sprint. Dunnigan pulls up. But Grover Covington just does a great job of beating the block and securing Matt Dunnigan. he's a very difficult man to sprint to because of his big size, but his mobility allows him to get in and outside and the quickness to get up the field.
15 sacks this year, 123 in his CFL career. Nobody has more. As Pasaglia's field goal try is good from the 36-yard line. And the BC Lions have scored. After a scoreless first quarter, it's now 4-3 for the Hamilton Ticats. And the Lions have really had a terrible time of scoring early. In 12 games, they'd only managed 47 points in the first quarter.
Well, Larry Donovan found himself always having to play catch-up football in the last few weeks, and that's why he was so concerned as we see him talking with Matt Dunnigan about getting a good start. Both on offense and defense. Don't allow them to score a lot of points, and let's get some of our own.
Tom Porras in the Ticat offense from the 35. Porras throws. Winfield makes a pretty good catch, but he didn't have possession of the ball inbound, so it goes incomplete. Well, if Kerrigan is out for any period of time, as he surely will be with a separated shoulder, if indeed that's what his injury is, Terry Andresiak from Notre Dame, the rookie that the Ticats signed in the offseason, will get his chance to dress for the first time and maybe play some in the next few weeks. And they've been anxious to take a look at Andresiak. These aren't the circumstances they'd like to be able to do it under, obviously. But that chance will come. Porras on second down is throwing for a loss back at the 29-yard line.
I think we're seeing something from the BC Lion defense that has been missing in the last few weeks, and that's the emotion. They're coming off the football, the front seven, and really making outstanding contact. Great surge. Porras does that bootleg, pulls everyone to one side. Ballard, disciplined, stays to the outside shoulder of the tackle, doesn't allow Porras to get to his outside.
And Walter Ballard had only 2 sacks coming into this game, but we are told by the BC coaches he has had an excellent season. Third down and 16. Ticats at their 29 as Baldiston, the worst punting average in the CFL at 37 yards, kicking into the wind now. It's a pretty good bounce, and Crawford is hemmed in back at his 35, able to get it back out to the 39-yard line. 2 minutes into the second quarter at Ivor Wynn. The Ticats lead by a point. Larry Donovan took over as head coach of the BC Lions last year after they had lost 3 games in a row. Don Matthews was fired, and Donovan succeeded him. The Lions were 8-6. They won 4 games in a row for Donovan to finish the season at 12-6. Well, I haven't seen one like that this year.
He just landed his plane out back at the stadium.
Can't knock having fun. Dunnigan fumbles the ball, colliding with Reggie Taylor, and he's able to get it back at the 30-yard line. Dunnigan has really fumbled a lot this season, and that time he ran into his own player.
He has 9, very uncharacteristic. I think you see Taylor is supposed to be going to his left to block the oncoming defensive players, and he just, you know, you hesitate for that 1 second, and inevitably you end up moving too late and getting in the way.
Got in the way and made his quarterback look bad. Second down and a long way to go, 19 yards. Dunnigan in the shotgun formation. And throws it down the middle, and it's knocked away, intercepted. Les Brown has the football, and he gives it back to Lance Shields. Touchdown.
Trying to force it in between the seams right here. The ball gets tipped. Rockford comes by right there. Comes off the foot of Robinson and now it's in the hands, and I find it hard to believe that this play wasn't designed. Look at this, Les Brown, Lance Shields coming the other way. And Mike Walker's going to lead him in. Mike Walker, the fullback, right there.
Baldiston with a convert, and it's 11-3 for the Tiger Cats. Well, it's hard to believe that was an impromptu thing by Shields and Brown. It had to be. That has to be a design play.
Well, fooling around in practice many times, I'm sure these two players have done this, just having some fun. But now it presents itself in a game situation.
Or maybe Shields saw Brown with the ball and said, hey, he's coming this way. I'll go behind him and maybe he'll give it to me. We don't know. Whatever. The fans at Ivor Wynne loved it. And you'd have to say there was an element of luck involved in the interception as the ball bounced off the foot or the knee of a Hamilton player and right into the arms of Les Brown.
Well, Rockford coming across, as you had seen, tried to get the ball and knock it down, and he did that. The luck came from bouncing off the foot of a player instead of hitting the turf. And you've got to give Les Brown all the credit in the world for reacting to that ball, going down, and then coming back up. And I'm sure Larry Donovan is as surprised as anybody.
Well, that one goes on the season's highlight films. That was an odd play. And a very successful play. And a very exciting play. Not for Larry Donovan. As his Baldiston kicks off to the BC 25. Anthony Parker uses his strength to get out near the 45-yard line.
The Lions, after starting deep in their own end in the first quarter a couple times, have had good field position. Matt Dunnigan with a little bit more leeway and what he can call not feeling threatened, backed up to his own goal line.
That was the 20th interception of the year for Dunnigan. There's 16 touchdown passes. Not his normal ratio.
Not your normal interception.
No, not exactly. Dunnigan sends Streeter wide right and David Williams to the left. Lots of time. Finds David Williams. A flag comes down as Williams shows us what he can do after catching the ball. To the Ticat 20, but there is a flag back at center field. Ken Lazarick is the head referee. Pass interference against the BC Lions. BC leads the CFL in penalties. They had 143 coming into the game.
Forward pass interference. BC number 2. First down repeated.
Williams coming off for catch a short rest. Caught for pushing off. I think you have to give credit once again to the coverage. Les Brown, who's on Williams, is so close to him. The only way Williams can get some separation is to do it. And he was caught that time pushing off.
So a struggling football team. The BC Lions trailing 11-3. Get a very uplifting play taken away by a penalty. First down, over 20 yards to go from there, 34. Dunnigan uses his speed to get outside and around the corner. And he'll gain 3 or 4 yards. That's all up to the 36.5 of BC.
That was the classic situation where that wall comes close, very, very close to you when you come out of the side, go through the sidelines, and you're going full speed. Matt Dunnigan working as hard as he can, getting to the outside again. Walker and Covington breaking the contain, pushing Dunnigan to run, not allowing him to set up and throw. And look at this. Does that wall come close to you or what?
Ticats very concerned about Dunnigan gaining that corner on them, and that time they really strung him out. He was able to pick up a few yards, but is still left with second and long, 2nd and 17 at the BC 36, and Dunnigan is running the quarterback draw. He gained maybe 2 yards before Swoops brought him down.
Al Bruno felt that they've seen enough film on Matt Dunnigan that they know when he's going to run. So much so that Daryl Corbin, the middle linebacker, has really put man-to-man on Dunnigan. This time he's blocked out. You see 38. See the good play by Walker, spinning off the block of Coughlin and coming right down the line, making the tackle.
Louis Pasaglia gets to kick with the wind now. His first 2 into the wind on 3rd and long, lines at their 38. And Pasaglia gets a good long kick away. Earl Winfield at the Ticat 25. We've seen that movie before. 85 yards. And that's his 4th punt return for a touchdown this season that ties Gizmo Williams' CFL record.
That's how he does it. He hits up it quickly, finds a soft spot. Louis Pasaglia takes on a block, does a defensive linebacker thing, spins into him, but that isn't enough. It's incredible how quickly he can get into that gap, going straight ahead, and then throw the cover people off completely.
Which makes my comment earlier that Winfield maybe doesn't look that quick tonight very astute. The convert by his Baldiston, 18-3 Hamilton. This game is brought to you by Foster's Lager on the Canadian Football Network. 2 touchdowns in a span of 2 minutes and 3 seconds for Hamilton. They lead the BC Lions now 18-3. We're 5:06 into the second quarter at Ivor-Wynne Stadium. Baldiston's kickoff to Drawhorn. Anthony Drawhorn runs into one of his own blockers and is down at the BC 42-yard line.
Still got a long ways to go. Number 2 now. Got the first one.
Well, you know, the last few times he's been saying that, it's exactly what he's done. The number one he's pointing out is this one. Incredible ability to get the ball quickly and find that soft spot that is created by the return team. They create that little hole. All the guys working hard. Les Brown down the field, showing the final block for Earl Winfield.
You know, that's his 11th touchdown of the year and his 5th on kick returns, his 4th on a punt return to tie Gizmo Williams' single-season record. What a year for Earl Winfield. 2nd year wide receiver of the Ticats. Reggie Taylor, what a run on first down. He gets 9 out to the 50 and broke 3 tackles along the way.
Nothing but hard work is going to get the Lions back in, and I think if doing it by example is what it's going to take, Reggie Taylor plans to get things started. Good job of blocking along the offensive line, stretching things out, and I think just a super effort. Breaks 1 tackle, 2 tackles on Walker, goes through Shields, finally taken down by Brown.
Not bad for a gentleman who's 5'6", 175. And he has the football again and has a first down. Paid for it with a couple of hard licks by the Ticat defense. Taylor is out to the 53. Corbin with at least a 25-pound weight advantage.
You can imagine Corbin making the same moves on the other side of the line laterally and getting ready to jump in that hole when it opens up. When it did open up, Reggie Taylor was there and Corbin made the hit.
We'll make that a 50-pound weight advantage. Corbin is listed at 225. Taylor is listed at 175. Lions 1st and 10 at their 52.5. Anthony Parker carrying. Good yardage. 6 through the middle, but penalty flag on the play.
Parker, the ball carrier. Walker made the stop. A penalty flag on the play.
And the most penalized team in the CFL adds another one to its list.
23, BC, illegal procedure. First down repeated.
Jamie Terrace, a graduate of Western Ontario. He's filling in for Andrew Murray, who last week separated a shoulder. He dressed, but probably wouldn't be able to play unless it was an emergency. Jamie Terrace, when he was at Western, was an offensive lineman. Came as the Lions as a fullback. He's working his way up. Now he's a slot back.
1st and 15. Lions from their 48. Screen pass, but it doesn't get to the intended receiver, Reggie Taylor. Matt Dunnigan underthrowing him. Tough year for Matt Dunnigan. They're switching teams, settling into a new city, a new set of circumstances, new teammates, but off to a great start. 2-0 start for the Lions. Hailed as the savior, Neil. There's been a lot of pressure on Dunnigan this year.
A new son, Dane. There's been a lot of things going on in Matt Dunnigan's life, and the type of personality he is and the individual, he wants to do it all himself. And as you said a little bit earlier, Larry Donovan wants to make Dunnigan understand he's the trigger man of this offense, not to take all the pressure on his shoulders.
Dunnigan throwing on 2nd down and 15, and they're rolling a catch at the Hamilton 50 by Streeter. And that's 2.5 yards away from the BC first down.
Both Streeter and Williams this week worked on their medium routes, running the short patterns and coming back and and really hooking up with the quarterback, Dunnigan, on where they were going to go when they found the hole, because I think that's been one of the toughest things for Matt Dunnigan this year, always seeing a new receiver in the game, not really being comfortable and knowing what the other guy's doing.
Donovan thought for a moment, I think, about going for it, but third down and a long 2. If you don't make it, you give Hamilton, which already has an 18-3 lead, another shot in the arm, and Donovan doesn't want to risk that. So Pasaglia will punt on third down, the ball at the Hamilton 50. And the kick goes to Zatilny, and he fumbles it. It's in the end zone. Donahue Grant tries to run it down and kicks it out of bounds in the end zone. And the Ticats get away with one there that could have been very, very costly in the form of a BC touchdown. 6:45 to go in the second quarter. Hamilton leading by 15. Well, it's a great night here in Hamilton. It rained early in the game for a few minutes, but a beautiful evening, and people at Ivor Wynn are having fun. Largely because their Ticats are leading BC 18-4. The Lions got a single on that mishandled Pasaglia punt that was kicked out of the end zone. Jed Tommy on a first down pass from Tom Porras, and he has a gain of perhaps 3. Tomorrow on CFN, we complete 3 games in 3 days. Ottawa is in Edmonton. Dave Hodge and Neil Lumsden will bring you that one. The Eskimos will look to break out of a first-place tie with Saskatchewan. The Rough Riders play in Winnipeg tomorrow. And we'll have BC and Hamilton on CFN next Friday back at the Dome. 2nd and 7, Ticats, their 38. Porras throws, completes to Stapler up at the 54.
Stapler's been nursing a sore knee this year, one that swells after every game, but this time you're going to see Porras stick that ball in. Stapler's coming to a quick post. Nice soft hands, goes up over his head and pulls it down. He was able to find that soft area between the halfback and the safety.
Stapler talked about maybe getting 2,000 yards receiving this year. He won't come anywhere near that, but he's having a pretty good year. Zachary on a first down carry gets to center field. Stapler at 753 yards in pass receptions coming into the game is Jeff Braswell, number 44, the middle linebacker of the BC Lions, who leads the CFL by a wide margin with 84 tackles, and he's missed a game.
He's pretty active. They've got a good one in Jeff Braswell.
Celebrated his 24th birthday last week. 2nd down and 9 from center field for Porras, who throws and completes to DiPietro. And with that catch, Rocky DiPietro moved over the 8,000-yard mark in his career. He's the 11th player in CFL history to hit that plateau.
Same type of play that Stapler caught, only this time it's Rocky DiPietro. That same soft area going in through to the safety just between Crawford and Rick Ryan.
We got to look at an upset Larry Donovan. Obviously something is breaking down in the BC secondary that he doesn't like. Porras throws the same type of pattern to Richard Estelle down at the 19, this time to the other side.
Last week, Larry Caharet said he was going to try to attack that area with Willis and Emmanuel Tolbert. He did exactly that, hooking up very early in the game with some big plays. I think we're seeing the benefit of watching films of the previous games and learning some of the weaknesses of a defense when they're in certain coverages.
3:50 left in the first half. Ticats leading 18-4, and now at the BC 19 with a 1st and 10. Zachary breaks the first tackle and gets close to the 15. Walter Ballard, who has been prominent in the first half, in on that tackle.
Ballard, a good job of making contact and coming down inside, getting Chapdelaine to continue downfield, and then taking a nice pursuit angle to where Zachary was going upfield.
Durable and very good, Walter Ballard. 2nd down, and we're close to 7 for Porras, who throws it into the end zone. No good. Intended for Stapler. Deep in the end zone, but just slightly overthrown.
Oh, this time I think Andre Francis did a fine job of staying with Stapler, again taking some of the end zone away from him.
Lance Shields of the Hamilton Tiger Cats having his right shoulder examined. Jim Rockford behind him as Paul Osbaldiston lines up a field goal try. This will come from the 23-yard line of the BC Lions. And Osbaldiston is through with it. It's now 21-4 for the Ticats with 2:51 left in the first half. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network. 2 minutes 51 seconds left in the first half at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Bob Irving with Neil Lumsden. 21-4. Hamilton leading. Paul Osbaldiston just kicked a 23-yard field goal and has now kicked off to Anthony Drawhorn. And he carries it back to the BC 43-yard line.
Pete Giftopoulos from Purdue continues to impress. I'm sorry, Penn State. Still impressing people on the special teams, coming down, taking on Jamie Terrace, shedding one blocker and then moving in, putting it in on Drawhorn.
Giftopoulos showing his size and strength on that coverage. 23-year-old rookie, a native of this area. Donegan on first down, has pressure, swoops, is grabbed and hauled down, and the penalty flags fly as the pass for Williams goes incomplete. 69 is Patrick Swoops. He's playing his first game on the defensive line for Hamilton. Larry Donovan has had an unsettling evening again and has showed his emotions a number of times on that BC sideline.
Holding, BC 69, first down repeated.
Right guard Jamie Buis called for holding.
Donovan's going to go to the left, see him slide there over the middle. Swoops is trying to get through, pursuing down the open area. Jamie Buis just hooks on.
Peter Vandenbos and Jim Mills are both injured. BC Lion offensive line, Donovan Fan also hurt. So the offensive line is not what they would like it to be. David Williams catches the ball on first and 20 and has a gain of about 13 up to the BC 41.
Well, because of the changes on the offensive line, Larry Donovan says they're going to have to do some smart play calling. See how Williams comes around Rockford. They're in his own defense. He finds an area, comes behind Rockford. Rockford doesn't know where he is, comes back to the football, makes the catch. And that makes it 1,005 yards for Williams this year.
Donegan screening to Anthony Parker. Flying down to the Hamilton 52-yard line for a Lions first down. 2:15 left until halftime. Al Bruno with a nice 21-4 lead. As the Ticats at 7-5 attempt to get back within 2 points of Toronto. Donegan throws, has a man wide open at the 25-yard line and completes it. And into the 20 is Murray. Andrew Murray, who's playing with a mild shoulder dislocation.
Larry Donovan is as animated as we've seen him this year. Last time the Tiger Cats had the ball on offense, the success they were having was frustrating him, I think, more than his defense. This time we're going to see Murray get down. Donegan just that little shuffle step to the left, buys his receiver a little bit more time and himself, and allows him to get open behind the coverage. Andrew Murray, a pleasant surprise from the University of Carleton. He's come through for a number of big catches for the BC Lions and really filled a void with Jan Carinci down. He's a very important part of that offense, but with him out, I think they feel that Murray has come through very well for them.
Murray, a fourth-round draft pick this year, as Les Brown, the 5-year veteran of the Ticats, gets some attention. Murray, an Ontario native.
Larry Donovan describes him as deceptively quick. Larry Donovan securing that Lion hat back on the head. It's hit the ground a few times tonight through frustration. What he was afraid of happened, getting behind early in the first half. I think Al Bruno's probably concerned about his team not becoming complacent with a lead.
Donegan throws in the end zone for Williams, and it's knocked away by Jim Rockford. They went right after Rockford, who replaced Les Brown on the corner. And they went after him with their best wide receiver, but Rockford was equal to it.
Rockford with good position underneath the receiver. Dunnigan a half roll to the right, then throws and tries to lead the receiver. Williams, but Rockford with good quickness comes up underneath and breaks the play as Anthony Parker is down.
A minute 55 left in the first half. Hamilton leading BC 21-4.
Jim Rockford, an interesting story out of the University of Oklahoma, was drafted in the 11th round by the St. Louis Cardinals, but couldn't go because he had already signed a letter of intent to attend the University of Oklahoma. Anthony Parker.
Well, there's still a lot of talk about that man, Ben Johnson. A lot of football talk about him, too, this week. Hamilton Ticats have put him on their negotiation list, and we'll have Mike McCarthy, the personnel director of the Ticats, on with us in the third quarter to talk about that.
Interesting move. It's not the first time that a football team has gone after a man who possesses tremendous speed. Maybe the best in the world.
Desai Williams, another prominent Canadian runner, did work out with the Ticats last year. We'll talk to Mike about that as well.
The report was he ran only a 4.2740. A little bit quicker than you and I, and a little bit quicker than a lot of people on the field today.
Than most people on any football field. 2nd and 10 from the 21 of Hamilton for BC. Dunnigan throws complete to Williams inside the Ticat 10, about the 9-yard line, and that'll be a BC first down.
I like the movement Matt Dunnigan is showing us on straight drop back. Keeping the ability, or having the ability, to keep the concentration and focus downfield, but feeling the pressure and just doing that shuffle once again to his left. Easier to move to his left on a right-handed quarterback and then throw the football than Williams giving the target.
Williams has gone over 1,000 yards in pass receiving yardage for the season tonight. And his latest catch has the Lions at the Hamilton 9 with a 1st and goal. The handoff goes to Wes Cooper, who's in for Anthony Parker, and he gets nothing.
Wes Cooper, the ball carrier.
Patrick Swoops in on the play. Grover Covington. Swoops has shown some tremendous tenacity. He's been running downfield, even in pass patterns, trying to get in on the tackle. Evidently knows how to catch the eye of the coaches in the films and how to stay.
Matt Dunnigan will try to catch the eye of his coach on this play. 2nd and goal. And he's hit just as he threw, and the pass is incomplete at the goal line. Streeter, the intended receiver.
Dunnigan under pressure has to throw the ball probably just a bit earlier than he wanted to. Streeter's going to force down to the goal line, then come back. Good coverage by Lance Shields, staying to the outside shoulder of Streeter and right behind him, so when that ball does come in, Shields reacts and knocks it down.
So with a minute 6 until halftime, Larry Donovan will have to settle for a field goal try by Louis Pasaglia, unless they run a fake from the Hamilton 8.5-yard line.
You think?
No, I think they'll take the points with Dunnigan holding, and that's what they do. So it's 21-7. The Lions do get 3 with 1:05 remaining in the first half.
A team that has been stung by a fake in a previous game, as the Cats were last week by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Wilson Jones taking a long one on a fake punt, have a tendency to work the next week a lot harder on situations on special teams that call for fakes. It's hard to burn a team twice.
Well, Earl Winfield has burned the BC Lions tonight with an 85-yard punt return at the 5:06 mark of the second quarter. His 4th punt return for a touchdown this year. And Tom Porras, at quarterback for Hamilton. Mike Kerrigan went out late in the first quarter with what is believed to be a shoulder separation. But with an interception and a punt return for a touchdown, Porras and the Hamilton offense haven't had to worry. Ken Zachary, good run, 12-yard gain on first down.
Something Al Bruno is looking for from Ken Zachary is that ability to get into the secondary and break one. I found it hard to believe coming into this game the longest run from scrimmage for the Tiger Cats was only 18 yards. Zachary has proven in the past, wearing a Tiger Cat uniform, that he can take him a lot farther.
Excellent speed and strength. You know, we talked about all the coming and going he's done between Hamilton and various points. He's still only 24 years old. Jed Tommy carrying on first down is across the 50 out near the 52 of the Ticats for a gain of about 4. 41 seconds left in the first half.
Kevin Konar, one of the leaders on the defense for the Lions, that outside linebacker spot. They've been on the field a lot so far this evening.
Nice warm night in Hamilton. Cooled down a little bit by a rain early in the game. Very pleasant. Ticats are in no hurry here, so they don't appear too concerned about scoring anymore before the first half ends. Zachary not able to hang on to that swing pass by Tom Porras. And with 17 seconds to go till the end of the first half, Hamilton will have to punt. These fans here in Hamilton have had a lot to smile about this season. Ticats 5-1 at home, 7-5 on the year after a 7-11 record in 1987. Osbaldiston standing back at his 35. Lions come with a rush, but Osbaldiston gets it away. Larry Crawford has it and can't find any open field. Is stopped at the 32 of BC with 6 seconds left on the clock. 32-yard kick by Paul Osbaldiston. Well, Dunnigan discussing with the coaches, Neil, whether to just let the time run out or do we send it deep downfield and see if we can get some good fortune on this last play.
I think with David Williams, they've proven in a game before that if they send him deep, he can come up with the big play in a Hail Mary type of situation. Why not try it?
Well, I'd be tempted to just put it up there and see what happens, and that's exactly what Dunnigan has done. And it was nearly picked off by Les Brown. And there's still 1 second left on the clock.
Well, these type of plays don't do much for your average, and I don't think Matt Dunnigan is too concerned about that right now. Again, I think we're seeing great position by Les Brown to the inside. Williams is known for that leaping ability and being able to adjust to the football. Brown just has the position too well covered.
Les Brown, an All-Canadian in 1985 and 1986. So with 1 second to go, the Lions will run one more play. And they'll run it out of the shotgun formation. 3 receivers wide to the right. And Dunnigan is going to wind up and throw it as far as he can. And it's out of anybody's reach. And on that note, the first half will end. The first half that saw Hamilton score 2 touchdowns 2 minutes apart in the second quarter. And they lead by 14, 21-7. 12 minutes, 54 seconds left in the fourth quarter at Ivor-Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, where the Tiger Cats, and seeing what appeared to be a comfortable lead in the second quarter, they led at one stage 21-4. Whittled down to 22-16. And Paul Osbaldiston just kicked a 67-yard single for Hamilton's 22nd point. So the Lions start from their 35. And Dunnigan hands off to Reggie Taylor, who gets outside and then bursts through a hole and is across center field to the Hamilton 51.
The word I'd use to describe that is explode. Boy, he hits up in there and then slides laterally to the right. Designed to go probably just inside the tackle. Now he kicks out. Great block by Parker. But look at the quickness. He gets up in that gap. Good play by Fields.
Dunnigan again handing off. I believe it was Reggie Taylor carrying the ball again. Yes, it was. And he gets a couple this time across the 50 to the 49 of Hamilton.
Mark Napiorkowski looking on. You know, the success of a running game like that just might set up a classic situation of a play action.
Fake by Dunnigan, who comes back the other way with it. And Reggie Taylor was not able to get to the ball. Dunnigan was shaken up as Grover Covington hit him as he released that ball.
Something the Lions don't need right now is Matt Dunnigan having to play with a bad ankle, because I know he'll get on the sidelines, loosen up, and want to come back in the football game. See the pressure coming. He's setting up that screen. Covington coming in right there. Seemed like an innocent hit. Could have simply been a twist.
Well, he's not able to put much weight on it. 3rd down and 8. Pasaglia kicking into the wind and not kicking very well. It's picked up by Zatilny on the run. He fumbles right into the arms of Scott Leckie, and the Lions have it at the 32-yard line. 11:34 left in the 4th quarter. 6-point Hamilton lead. Matt Dunnigan shaken up on the last play or 2 plays ago, but he's been walking up and down along that BC bench and seems to have shaken off the twisted ankle that he suffered when hit by Grover Covington. Not enough, though, to come back in the game. Ricky Foggy takes over after the Hamilton fumble. Lions at the Ticat 33. Anthony Parker carrying for 5 to the 28.
Lions showing the set of a double tight end, having Jamie Terrace and Scott Leckie move up to the line of scrimmage.
Ricky Foggy has seen very limited playing time this season. He's completed 8 out of 34 passes in the first 12 BC games, and he'll work out of a shotgun. And 2nd down and 6. And he'll run inside the 20 down to the Hamilton 18-yard line is Ricky Foggy.
Foggy very quickly realizing and recognizing a gap on the pass rush. Hamilton left the middle open. And as quickly as Foggy takes off, you're going to see Anthony Parker, and you're right, number 19, release up the gap in the field, find an area. Now he's going to turn into a blocker right here on Mike Robinson. That might make the difference.
Mike Robinson playing middle linebacker with Darryl Corbin injured. 1st and 10, Lions at the Hamilton 18. BC trailing by 6. Foggy fakes the toss and throws well short of the intended receiver. There is a penalty flag on the play, and it's holding against the Lions. Well, this is a difficult circumstance for young Mr. Foggy to be pressed into duty.
Holding, BC number 62, 1st down repeated.
Left guard John Coughlin called for holding.
Well, Foggy does get some help from the sidelines. Bob, the plays are being called in either by Larry Donovan or Matt Dunnigan.
That's Jason Riley, one of those big Hamilton offensive linemen. 1st down over, 20 yards to go. Lions at the Hamilton 28 after the holding penalty. Foggy on the quarterback draw. And he's down to the 21 for a gain of 7.
Gallivakis making the tackle.
Well, getting a little bit of that loss back. You don't have to do it all at once. The Lions have been in this situation a number of times tonight, having to kick field goals. Al Bruno hoping that that'll be the situation now.
Lions are 2nd down and 13 at the Hamilton 21-yard line. Ricky Foggy throws over the middle behind the intended receiver. Jamie Terrace down around the 2-yard line of the Ticats.
Louis Pasaglia back on the field. Matt Dunnigan puts his helmet back on because he is the holder.
So Dunnigan is able to do this chore as we see him very decidedly limping on that twisted ankle. Lou Pasaglia will try from 28 yards out. The wind grabs it and pushed it a little bit to the right, I believe. And Pasaglia misses. And the Ticats take their time and pick it up. Les Brown does pick it up finally, and then a penalty flag comes down for no yards, it would seem.
Sagley's field goal attempt is wide, taken by Les Brown.
So the Lions may not even get a point out of this.
Don't give up the point. Unless we can get the full point.
Well, that's an interesting situation. You think they'd blow it dead when the ball's just going to sit there.
Miles Gorell, number 66 for Hamilton, along with Rocky DiPietro, talking with referee Ken Lazaruk about what they want to do, getting their options straightened out.
No yards. Number 19, BC, declined. 1 point. First down, Hamilton.
So they give BC the point, and it'll give them the football out at their 35-yard line and make it 22-17 for Hamilton. But that fumble by Zatilny that was recovered by Scott Leckie does not hurt the Ticats very badly. Forrest with a fake, looking down the sidelines for Stapler, but well beyond his reach.
Mike Walker taking a well-deserved break on the sidelines. Comes into this game with 13 sacks.
And you know,
gourmet cooking.
Well, he's been cooking quarterbacks all year. Everywhere we go and every coach we talk to, every player we talk to, they'll rave about this guy. He is just one terrific player.
And he's a great ambassador to the game here.
2nd and 10 for the Ticats. Forrest dumps it off to DiPietro. And Rocky gets the first down up to the 47. He's thrown out of bounds on that area where there's not much distance between the sideline and the wall, and a penalty flag comes down.
Larry Donovan told us a week or so ago that because of what the problems Jeff Braswell has had in games prior to this, he's under a microscope every time he's close to a player with the football. In this situation, he gets nabbed again for an unnecessary roughness, and you don't think penalties can hurt you. You certainly have the BC Lions this evening.
And they have padded the very undesirable total of penalties that leads the CFL with 11 more tonight. Ken Zachary carries on first down from the BC 48. That's where the penalty moved the football to. Zachary gains 5. Ken Zachary replacing Martin Sarton. And he has had a good game. 7:25 left in the fourth quarter. Hamilton 22. The BC Lions 17. They'll do it again next Friday in the Dome. And we'll have it on CFN. Forrest throws, and that one was nearly picked off. Francis and Larry Crawford had the coverage on DiPietro and Stapler. Zachary, I'm talking about, has carried 13 times for 57 yards.
The situation I don't think you like to happen with Stapler going down, breaking the out, DiPietro going into the same area. What that does is it brings 2 defenders to the football, increases the chances of having it picked off.
Paulus Baldiston with his 4th field goal try of the night. This will be a long one. Forrest will hold it at the 49-yard line. Paulus Baldiston has plenty of distance, but again, he's wide to the left. He pulled it wide to the left, and that's how he missed the other one earlier. It goes for a point. It's now 23-17 Hamilton. 51 left in the fourth quarter.
Tom Forrest having to handle a tough snap. Watch his right knee down on the ground. That's where the ball comes. He has to get the ball quickly to the tee, and just that hesitation can throw Baldiston off, because that's what he's looking at. He sees the situation that's occurring on the field. A little bit of hesitation.
Forrest did a good job of setting the ball up. Baldiston thought the kick was good. And Matt Dunnigan, after missing the last series, is back in the game. 6.5 minutes to go. 6-point Hamilton lead. And the Lions from their own 42. Dunnigan takes off and runs up to the 48. 6-yard gain and running well despite twisting his ankle a few minutes ago.
Report on Daryl Corbin, the linebacker of the Tiger Cats, who was taken off a little bit earlier. He has broken the radius in his right forearm, the smaller bone that works very closely with the movement of the wrist.
What an expensive night it has been for the Ticats. Corbin out, Kerrigan injured earlier, separated shoulder, surgery required. They've lost some strength down the middle this evening. As Anthony Parker runs up the middle for 10 yards on a BC Lion first down. Hamilton with a 6-point lead, 5:41 left in the fourth quarter. Earl Winfield has been part of the story tonight with a punt return for a touchdown. BC coming on strong in the second half. And Mike Kerrigan, of course, going out late in the first quarter with that injury. Dunnigan throws, and it's caught by Streeter. And he's driven out of bounds at the Hamilton 14-yard line. The cornerback gambled for the interception and missed it.
It's a great play by Streeter. Lance Shields goes for the interception. The advantage has is Streeter gets his hands on the ball first, pulls it back inside right there, does a little bit of a back pedal. Now he's on his way down the sidelines. Get some help from Andre Francis on the sidelines there too. Gave him a 5 when he walked by.
Shields will see that on film and wonder how he missed it, and Al Bruno can't believe it. But the Lions are at the Hamilton 14-yard line. Dunnigan had Scott Leckie open, but he overthrew him.
Yes, he did. He had the play he wanted. The middle was open. Larry Donovan talked earlier on today about trying to get Scott Flagel, the very aggressive safety of the Tiger Cats, to bite, to step up on the medium routes over the middle, and then always send someone to the post, and they don't seem to have had success with it. Really, that's the first time I think they've gone after it, but as you said and saw, it was overthrown.
Dunnigan 12 out of 23 for 285 yards. Now 2nd and 10 at the Hamilton 14. Throws it for David Williams in the end zone. And he goes up with Les Brown and is unable to get to the football.
Well, once again this evening, pressure coming on Matt Dunnigan. He has to throw the ball up, and Les Brown, very reliable this evening. A tough job coming into the game. Tremendous vertical jump. Outleaps David Williams. A lot of this credit goes to the defensive secondary of the Ticats. They've been very, very tough.
You know, Brown's been beaten for a few yards, but he has done a good job on David Williams, a very talented wide receiver. The Lions on 3rd and 10 at the Hamilton 14 are going for the first down. Dunnigan from the shotgun formation. And they don't make it.
Dunnigan really trying to zip that ball in there. You're going to watch the ball come out of his hands, a little bit of a wobble. The high release, it comes off him. Streeter comes back to the football, does what he's supposed to do, but the ball's just a touch high.
And Shields had very good coverage. The Ticats lead the CFL in interceptions with 33 coming into this game, and we've seen some very good examples of why as the fans at Ivor Stadium celebrate. Very tight coverage, and an interesting call by Larry Donovan to pass up a field goal that would have pulled them within 3 points and go for the first down. One that will no doubt be second-guessed. Long pass by Porras, intended for Stapler. Incomplete. 3 minutes 45 seconds. The time remaining in the fourth quarter.
Scott Flagel, Jim Rockford.
Because, hey, I want you to have it. I got a back. So we have a advantage of back himself. We need a stat. So
Going over the coverage in the situation of the last play, if it occurs again. Communication is so important on the field.
Tom Porras has completed 12 out of 25 for 150 yards. And now is 2nd and 10 from the 14. Throws over the middle. DiPietro goes up, can't make the catch, and Rick Ryan diving, can't make the interception. But the Lions will get the football back with 3:24 left now.
Force under pressure by James Quick Parker. I think I've seen Parker get in closer tonight than he has been in a long time on a consistent basis. The Lions with 11 men up. Either will pressure or set up a return for Larry Crawford.
Good night for his Baldiston, who has a season average of 37. His punting average tonight, 42.2. And with the wind behind him, he drives one. Crawford at the 47. And he has some room. And he's into the Hamilton 42-yard line. 2 minutes, 58 seconds left, fourth quarter. Ticats lead BC 23-17. This CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager. Miles Gorell of the Hamilton Ticats. Neil Lumsden talked with him before the game. Neil, you and I were kidding about how much Gorell weighs. You asked him, did you not?
Well, he said when you as big as I am and you've been in the league 11 years, no one can make you get on the scale.
Well, he's had a good year, as have all the members of the Hamilton offensive line. The BC Lions have had a good second half here at Ivor Wynne, but they're 6 points down in the last 3 minutes of the game. And the pass by Dunnigan is dropped by Reggie Taylor. BC first down from the Hamilton 43-yard line.
Matt Dunnigan showing some patience and throwing to his running backs who are releasing. The linebackers of the Tiger Cats are taking a deep drop. He recognizes it, throws it to Reggie Taylor. A simple dump. Should be a simple first down.
Second down and 10. Lions at the Hamilton 43. 2:44 left, fourth quarter. Dunnigan sprints left, looking very mobile after twisting his ankle earlier, and he'll take off and run and collides with Coughlin, his left guard. Dunnigan has a gain of 5 yards on the play and took a good hit as he changed his direction and ran into John Coughlin, who was hustling down trying to throw a block for him.
You certainly can't fault Coughlin, as you say. All he's trying to do is get downfield and make a block and help spring Dunnigan. You say the ankle looks pretty good, but right there, Coughlin trying to come down on Robinson.
And now they'll gamble on 3rd and 5. Of course, had they taken the field goal earlier on the 14-yard line, they could have tried a field goal to tie the game. 3rd and 5. Dunnigan throws, has a man wide open, Scott Leckie, and he completes the pass for a first down to the Hamilton 28-yard line. So with 2:14 left, BC down by 6. They keep the drive going.
Good protection by the offensive line. The backs will stay in because the linebackers come in and snug up to hold them in. Scott Leckie, who's been so valuable to this football team earlier on in the year in special teams, shows his value as a receiver tonight.
First and 10 at the Hamilton 28. And a little razzle-dazzle. Dunnigan in big trouble, gets the ball away and had a receiver over there, Reggie Taylor, but they're going to call him down. Grover Covington.
Covington playing in his 125th regular season game. Little razzle-dazzle give to Taylor. Taylor tries to get in deep and then flips it back to Dunnigan, but nothing comes open. You've got to give some credit to the Ticat secondary once again. Not falling for the razzle-dazzle and sticking with the receivers.
A 15-yard loss. Second down and 25 for the Lions. From the Hamilton 43, the clock is running. It's down to 1:35 left in the fourth quarter. Ticats lead by 6. Anthony Parker. Oh, what a play! Touchdown, BC. Was that any good? What an effort by Anthony Parker. Whew.
Well, the Lions haven't had this chance to rejoice and enjoy a big play in a long time. Matt Dunnigan out of the shotgun. The backs release. Taylor first, see them cross, try to mix up the linebackers. That means the linebackers come into coverage a little bit late. What a great move by Parker, coming back against the flow. Good straight arm on Rockford.
I think Al Bruno might question his team's tackling on the play, but a tremendous effort by Anthony Parker. Lou Pasaglia to give the Lions the lead, and he has it through there, and BC is in front 24-23 with 1:21 left in the fourth quarter.
It's tough to say too many good things about it. The best way is to describe it. You get a chance to look at it as Les Brownwood coming into the play. What a super run. I mean, it's a great run at any time, but especially this situation, third down. I mean, that's outstanding. Now, Bob, with 1:21 left, the fans are on their feet, getting ready to explode, because they know with the man who wears the #1 sweater, Earl Winfield, is back to receive this kickoff. He gets his hands on it.
And the thing to remember here is the Hamilton Tiger Cats have the wind behind them. So if they can get it to the BC 40-yard line, they'll give us Baldiston at least a reasonable chance at a field goal that would win the game for them.
In the pregame warm-up, as Baldiston was hitting them easily from the 50-yard line with the breeze behind him.
Pasaglia bounces it down the middle. Zatilny on the run. Wally Zatilny to the 46 of the Ticats. 1:16 to go now.
Good play by Zatilny on not letting that ball bounce too many times. Getting it on the second hop and getting it quickly upfield.
BC trailed 21-4 in the second quarter and are now ahead 24-23. The first time in the game they have led. And now the pressure is on Tom Porras, who throws to Stapler, and he can't hang on at the 45. Andre Francis got a hand in and knocked the ball away from Stapler.
Once again, Porras looking to the receiver, going to the post. This time it's Stapler. A little bit of a shoulder move to the outside to get Francis back. Simply bringing it down a little bit too quickly, loses the grip on it.
Matt Dunnigan has thrown for 338 yards. I'm sorry. Hamilton's passing yardage 190. Second and 10. Ticats at their 46. Porras for Chapdelaine, diving. Can't hang on. BC 51-yard line. 1:06 left. And Al Bruno is sending out his punting team with 1:06 to go. 5 incompletions in a row for Tom Porras. Bruno's thinking here would be that they can stop them, call a timeout, force Pasaglia to punt into the wind, and still get the shot at that field goal.
Or hoping for a great punt by Baldiston and having the wind pick up about 15 knots just as he kicks it.
Or a fake. Don't think so, though. No, as Baldiston is going to punt, and he gets a pretty good one away. Larry Crawford with the catch and the return. And Crawford down the sideline, but they ruled him out of bounds at the 41 of BC, but that did not work out the way Bruno had hoped it would, as Larry Crawford throws a wrench into the plans. Tomorrow on the Canadian Football Network, Ottawa in Edmonton. Dave Hodge and Neil Lumsden, and then next Friday, the rematch, Hamilton back at BC in the Dome, 7 Vancouver time, 10 Eastern time on CFN. That was a 48-yard punt by Baldiston, but Crawford did a job on the return.
Well, you look ahead to next Friday. That'll be quite a game. The rematch. I don't know if anyone's played back-to-back games this year and swept a series.
54 seconds to go, fourth quarter, 1 point. BC lead from their 41-yard line. Anthony Parker gets 2 to the 43. 51 seconds to go. And if Hamilton can hold here, call their timeout, they could get the ball back with maybe 20 seconds to go. Second down and 8. Dunnigan taking all the time that he's allotted. He used up 19 seconds before snapping the ball, and he runs with it now. Hit from the blind side, but was able to hold on. Skillman came over back at the 34 to hit him. 26 seconds left on the clock. Ticats do call their timeout. And so now it's up to Lou Pasaglia to hit a good punt into the wind.
Dunnigan rolling to his left. Watch where he's got the ball. Skillman's eyeing that coming from the side. Right there. Inches away of placing that head right where the ball's sitting. That ball could have popped out if Dunnigan doesn't recoil it back quickly. And that's got to make your heart thump a little bit if you're Larry Donovan on those sidelines.
I don't know how well Donovan could see that from where he stands, but had he had our vantage point, it would have been frightening to watch.
Well, I think the way things have been going for Larry Donovan and his football team, he expects the worst. And can you blame him, really, the way things have happened, injuries?
So with 26 seconds left, Al Bruno looks on anxiously as Lou Pasaglia gets set to punt. The ball at the BC 34. Pasaglia at his 20. Good snap. And Pasaglia has it go off the side of his foot, and it bounces out of bounds at the 50 to 49-yard line of Hamilton with 20 seconds on the clock. Time for maybe 2 plays before the Ticats could take a shot at a field goal that would win the game for them. That was a 27-yard punt by Pasaglia, and into the strong wind. Not that bad.
Historically, in this situation, the Ticats have always gone to the middle in the area of Rocky DiPietro.
Will Porras go to his 11-year vet? Porras going to take off and run. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. The clock stops with 13 seconds to go. Hamilton does not have a timeout. They used it. So they'll have to go without a huddle, but James Parker was shaken up on the play. And he will have to leave for this next play.
Get on the line! Get on the line! Get on the line! Get him on the fucking line!
Al Bruno and Larry Donovan.
Lions defensive line wearing a little bit thin with Mac Moore out with a pulled groin. He was replaced by Mark Turner. Now James Parker goes down, so you can see Dwayne Durbin in number 70.
Well, with 13 seconds to go, Neil, the Ticats pretty well have to get it in a field goal range on this play. I don't know if they'll have time for 2 plays and a kick. Doubt it very much.
I would expect them to be up at the line of scrimmage with the play called, ready to go when Parker becomes close to the sidelines. Use all the time they can. Paul Osbaldiston hopes he gets a chance to win it.
And the clock will start. Porras straight back to throw. Over the middle. Winfield has the ball. Earl Winfield. Tackled at the 25 with 2 seconds left in the game. Or in the 4th quarter, I should say.
I guess it just comes down to some guys have got the magic. Jed Tommy does a nice job of stepping up, picking up Braswell on the blitz. But once again, Winfield between the halfback and the dropping linebackers comes through the middle with a huge catch, and here's the kick.
Osbaldiston has missed it, and Larry Crawford gets it out of the end zone with a tremendous effort, and the BC Lions will win the game 24-23. Paul Osbaldiston, and he won't sleep well tonight. Matt Dunnigan should. He really led the Lions' second half comeback.
Porras pulls it up, gets a good pin, Kick to the left. Now watch Crawford. Great effort. He knows he's got to go right to the corner. Flagle's in pursuit. Trips him up. Super effort to get out of the end zone.
The offensive star, number 8, quarterback Tom Forrest.
Again, the snap a little bit behind. Forrest has to handle it. Does a good job.
Catch number 28.
It was close.
And fairness to Osbaldiston, that's the second straight field goal try where a bad snap was set up nicely by Porras, but may have affected his kick. I don't think Osbaldiston, though, will make any excuses for that one. 24-23, the BC Lions come back to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Heartbreaking loss for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Big win for the BC Lions, and this is the play that decided it. Anthony Parker taking a pass from Matt Dunnigan, doing it himself. The winning score at 13:39 of the fourth quarter. Eastern standings now. Hamilton remains 4 behind Toronto. Very costly loss for the Tiger Cats. And in the West, the BC Lions move 2 points ahead of Calgary in the race for third. And possibly the Lions have a chance to even think higher than that. Tomorrow on CFN, our third game of the weekend, Ottawa at Edmonton. Final score here, BC 24, Hamilton 23. Bob Irving for Neil Lumsden. Good night from Hamilton.